Thank you so much for making it. It's a good vibe.
Oh,
All right, we'll just wait a second for people to come on. I'm so sorry that we had a little technical issue. We're running very tight. So hopefully we'll leave a few minutes of break at the top before the top of the hour. Just wait another 10 seconds or so. Such great people here. Amazing. The Zoom chat's just like, it's hard for me to listen to the speaker because I'm watching the Zoom chat. It's just so much going on. Okay, so we'll officially get started as people keep coming on. I am excited and happy to introduce to you Rabbi Moshe Gersht. He's done an interview for a summit with me in the summer one time before, and he was just, I did not know Rabbi Moshe before actually meeting him in the interview, and my mind was blown, to be quite honest. Like, just such a rich, deep, heartfelt, profound, Torah-based, human-based discussion. So something to look forward to. Rabbi Moshe Gersht is a spiritual teacher, Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author, and a TEDx speaker. Prior to that, he had a very different life where he spent nearly a decade touring the US as a singer and songwriter for a popular Los Angeles-based rock band. Did you bring your guitar? Oh, maybe
here.
Okay. Maybe you'll just sing a few bars. He's since devoted his life to seamlessly bridging the worlds of ancient Torah tradition, mystical wisdom, true nature of the human mind. That's something that's really, really on our radar, and our collective struggles, ditto. In addition to receiving several rabbinical degrees, he's dedicated years of study under the guidance of several of the world's premier wisdom figures, and has found a niche for himself, sharing his love of life, love of people, and spirit through teaching, speaking, and writing. And today, Rabbi Gersht is going to be talking about the evolution of consciousness, remembering who you truly are. This has been the theme, underlying theme of both of all this calls till now. The 3 dimensions of consciousness and being rooted in oneness. So yeah, thank you so much. I know you had a conflict, and I really, really appreciated that you were able to, like, I don't know what you had to give up. I feel it personally, and thank you so much for being part of this. Am I frozen? David, am I frozen? He's frozen. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I have to be careful what I yell because I never know who's listening to me. Okay. Okay, you were frozen, but you don't look frozen now. You have to move a little bit because I think you're just smiling, and then I find out that yeah, that's good. Just keep doing that. Okay, so talk to us about the evolution of consciousness, and thank you for being here. And it was such a pleasure last time, and I right away wanted to ask you this time. So it's just great.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate all the kind words. Right, screen, you're frozen, but this is the 21st century. So these are the things we deal with. But I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I want to ask the audience, when one of us freezes, can you please type in the chat which one it is? Because it's impossible for us to tell. And that will help. Okay. Hopefully that won't hit. So far, it was you every time, I'm hearing.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Yeah, no, I've been having an issue over here. So look, sometimes the internet connection isn't perfect in Jerusalem. It's working on a different bandwidth, I think. I don't know.
Anyway, look what we complain about. We're all connected from all over the world. There are people
Thank God. It's a beautiful thing.
And it froze for a second.
It's funny. I was just speaking to a dear friend yesterday about the opportunity of the generation that we're living in. We are living in such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. And I know that the knee-jerk gut reaction for many is to look out and say, yeah, but look at how bad it's getting and how things are deteriorating, and just look at
Oops. Thank you. I really appreciate this feedback, you guys. Otherwise, I'm madly trying to figure out if I should reboot my computer. That's the only reason I need this feedback. Rabbi Moshe, you are frozen again.
Ask him to check which Wi-Fi he's on at his house and make sure he's in the right place.
Should I WhatsApp him?
You can.
Try that. Okay, thanks for hanging with us, guys. It's transformation in on the ground, real time, real life, real issues, real solutions. Any questions meanwhile, comments? Oh. Okay, you're back.
Okay, I hope to stay. That is my hope.
Amen.
And just for the viewers and for you, on my end, it does say that I have full bars. I have like all of the bars lit up, and so I don't really understand what's happening. But this itself, I think, is a perfect segue. I think this is exactly what we're speaking about, which is,
Yeah.
we go through life, and we expect life to go one way, and life goes the way it goes. And to the degree that we can be open to the truth that there are no mistakes in this wonderful universe, you can keep your smile on my face and I can keep mine. So here we are. And that's the miracle. That's the real miracle. So you had asked about the evolution of consciousness, and that's, those are wonderful words to describe really what we're doing here, what all of history has been about, and what all of life is about. Please.
I'll give you my smile on my face.
He's saying
feel
he's
bad for
been
him.
having problems, but he thought it would be okay.
So irritating. I'm so sorry. That's like so stressful for you to have to keep coming on.
Oh, not for me.
Oh.
I want to be here for you and for everyone else that's that's listening and watching right now. So it's sincerely my apologies.
This one is nothing to apologize for. This one is experiential. You're watching in real time. Like, yeah, how much can we just keep smiling? Whatever it is, it's all good. Yeah. It's just happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's on my end. It says that my internet's unstable, and then it says Shifra Hendrie's internet is low bandwidth. So between the two of us,
oh no,
we're getting to where we are.
Maybe I'm tired. I'll try to like ramp up my energy and get some bandwidth going.
It's sentence by sentence, we'll get to wherever we're going.
Oh my gosh, literally. Okay, next sentence. Should we go off video, David? Do you suggest that? Do you think that would make it better?
He might, but yeah, I think he's been having problems with his internet. Maybe he should hotspot his phone. It might be a better option when he comes back. Unless that's what he's doing, and that's why it's not working. I don't know.
Yeah, he's frozen the smile. That's his natural expression. I have to be more careful about mine. Like, I'm getting biofeedback on all these videos. Oh, bye again. Some light relief. Does anyone else experience this in the silence? New information is becoming a conscious awareness processing together at a rapid rate. I experienced that. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Maybe it's the space in between. That's the main thing. I mean, not that he doesn't have a ton of wisdom to share, but what if we just, step into that together and be here even more because of it, and relax even more because of it. That's the revolving sword.
Okay, we'll try this.
Okay.
So we'll do the best we can. God willing, this will be it. Can you hear me?
Yes. And you know what I love? While you were gone, this last time somebody wrote, does anyone else experience this in the silence? New information is becoming a conscious awareness, processing together at a rapid rate. And everybody's going, my heart, yes, 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 we're in the silence. Mozart said the music is in the silence between the notes. See, that's a sign of evolving consciousness. That's from the audience,
Yes, yes,
the community.
exactly. And we're just in this blessed time right now that if you're even a little bit awake and continuing to awaken more, it's like it's all there. It's all there and ready. Right? The gateways are open, and if you want to step into that light, the light's available, and you see it everywhere you go, and you don't have to be a teacher. We're all teachers. We're all teaching and
Right.
learning from each other, right? We're all walking around having this collective experience and moving forward. It's an amazing, amazing time. And essentially, yeah, I think that's what we were going to speak about to begin with, which is what's been happening on this wonderful planet of ours for as long as we know. Is there's a growth and there's a movement, and despite the fact that on the surface you might see decay, and you might think, oh well, the world is constantly falling apart. The world is
You know, I'm feeling bad for him. How about we all try this? Let's just focus on ultimately relaxing our bodies and making a lot of space for flow to come through, and see what happens. Letting go, letting go, letting go. As he said, the gates are open. The light is here. I don't think I did the Mozart quote, but unless I did it another time. Yeah, he is. I was thinking about that too. He's modeling a live action lesson. It's really cool. I mean, I hope he's comfortable with it, because if it would be me, I'd be feeling like I'm letting everybody down. You know, it's a hazard of being somebody in our soul tribe. We're like super, like take the blame and want to make sure that everybody else is okay. Who here is like that? Say me. Yeah, yeah, here we go. Jennifer, Basia, Charlene, Laura, Cheryl, Norman, Geula, yep, Sydney, yep. They're very, very clear, consistent characteristics of this particular segment of humanity, this soul tribe. Yeah, it's exactly what Sari Yehuda was talking about. Exactly. That this is part of the maturation. This is part of actually building a relationship with God. That this is, which she described as actually fulfilling the purpose of creation, that we're just here in the moment with what's happening and making the best choices. And I think that it's actually, he's going somewhere else, he said. Two more, another minute. So instead of like, there would have been a time when people would be like, it's not worth it. But I see more people here than we started with. And that's really amazing. I mean, give yourself a big, big inner hug, because we're experiencing the evolution of consciousness right now. We're seeing it in living time. And our connection and our love and our flowing and our acceptance is actually forwarding the miraculous, right through that portal. It does feel great. My body's feeling more and more relaxed. Can you imagine? Instead of like in the past, I'd be like, oh. It does feel great. And we're all here together and it's making space for us. We are VSIPs, very sensitive, intelligent people. So interesting. I so agree. Working with Hashem and blessed for this. We're all here together. Maybe the Rabbi consciousness is downloading us while we're uploading through false fears. Oh, I love it. Fears and expectations. Isn't that what Sar Yehudit said? Like our expectations when things don't happen the way we expect them to, that's when or was that Simon? I sense a common theme here. Let's mimic Moshe. Let's respond the same way as if the presentation were proceeding as desired. We're actually getting a better lesson than expected. Yeah. Thank you for being it, Charlene. Thank you. Thank you for being in it with me. I mean, we can all create a channel alone, but that's not the same channel that we can create together. That's for sure. And now Alan's feeling goosebumps just because of the nothing, which is the everything, which is in our space. Right, Cheryl? Me too. So let's just be in a prayer mode. I'm going to keep, are the three states of consciousness? I don't know yet. We will or will not find out. Yeah, he's communicating on WhatsApp, and the last I heard was like 2 minutes ago. He said he was going to another place, so hopefully it'll be soon. The nothing is the everything. That's one of the big secrets of Kabbalah, that God creates something from nothing. You can't create something from actual nothing. Nothing means total, unlimited, undefined potential. That's why it's called nothing. So anyone who wants to contribute an insight, we can sit in the silence and in prayer, or feel free to share, something that you've taken away from what happened so far, something that might be shifting for you, some different emotional state or conscious realization or feeling of potential. Chana, I'm thinking it's not the time for mincha, it's only 11. I'm sitting here with my clock says 6:23. We're just all over. You're really the wandering Jew today. You should see what's going on here. Moshe, your volume's a little low. I just want to tell you though, I want to make sure to send you the chat after this call. You should see what's going on here. You're actually presenting even when you're offline and people are processing. I've never seen anything like this. And there are more people listening than there were when you first came on, like through the freezing people are coming. Yeah, I'll send you that. It's quite amazing.
Wonderful. Okay, let's just do the check. You can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, thank God. That is amazing. And I guess for some reason, we're all supposed to get a new view from where we are to where we're going.
Right.
And that is wonderful. I'm also sitting and looking at a beautiful forest now that I had to leave my home to come out to like an area where there's service. So thank you for staying with me, you and all 135 people who are still sitting on this call. It's just what a blessing. You guys are great. Thank you. So where are we? Who are we? What are we? When are we? How are we? Good. Movement. We're in the world of movement. That's what this world is, right? This world is called Asiya. Yeah, the world of Asiya is the world of doing, and it's the world of movement. And then behind the world of movement, there's all the stillness and the silence. And that's really the question of life. The question is, where do we want to be anchored? You can't be disconnected. It only looks like you are. when you feel disconnected, it's an illusion. You know that because the fact that you can talk about it means you're still connected. So, but you can also be fully plugged in and feel the truth of who you are and what life is, but you're always going to have something out in this world, right? So long as we're present in this uh, earth, Asiya reality. So we're doing this balancing act all the time. And all of life, when I use the word evolution, I mean growth, development, change, transition, and that's all of life. What life is, from birth to death, is this steady movement, while we awaken to something that's behind the noise, that's behind the body, that's behind the movement of who we are. And that's how you open yourself up to a world that's so much bigger. And the physical world is so big. It's so big, so big. It's amazing. And there's so much just on this planet, just on Earth. And there's so much in the solar system. And there's so much in the universe. And the whole thing, the Arizal says, the whole thing, all of physical reality is like a speck of sand in the ocean to what real reality is. It's so big. Yeah, it's amazing. And so that becomes the question, is where are we anchored? What are we anchored to, right? And when we find ourselves anchored in the silent space in between, so there's nothing to fret about, and there's nothing to be moved by. Not to say that things aren't going to happen in life that do that to us, but that's the growth. That's what the evolution is. It's that connection back to the higher part of ourself. We call your neshama, your soul, and then beyond that, straight to God, which is all one extension of a radiant light. That's what we're doing here, and that's the movement. So something that I've been thinking about a lot in recent months has been, one of the theme songs of Torah is the Shema, right? And we say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, which means God, the force of the universe, is one, right? This idea of one. And that sounds really nice. God is one. It's all one. It's all nice. But practically speaking, so how do you experience that? How do you tap into that and plug into that? And what does that mean? And so interesting, your what's it called? The gates of Amunah? What's the
Gate of unity, gate of unity.
Gate of unity,
Yeah.
right? So I always see the Aleph. I always think about the Aleph when I think of you. And it's like, it should have said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Aleph. Aleph is one. Aleph, just point to the Aleph. Why do you even have to say the word Echad, which already is details? It's broken down into pieces. And that already looks like a fragment, right? So there's like pieces to it. Why don't we just say God is the and just go to the most essential point, or even just like a yud and point to that? And yet we speak out this language of one, the Aleph, the Chet, and the Dalet. And those point to the three essential dimensions of reality, right? And that's the material world. And then right beyond that, the world of energy and information. And then right beyond that, the world of oneness, and that is the Dalet. The Dalet is always going to point us back to, like, a Dalet is gematria 4. So there's the four corners of the world, and the word Dal means poor. So there's a world, if you only live in a material world, that's the world of scarcity and poverty, and you don't see the whole picture. This is all there is. But you take one step in and you get to the letter behind the Dalet, and that's a Ches. And Ches means chiyus, which means energy. It means life force. It means movement. It means aliveness. And you take one step in and you go beyond material to some more energetic spiritual plane, where you realize that there's meaning and ideas and connection, and this wonderful dynamic energy that's flowing through all of existence. But that's still in the world of multiplicity, right? The Ches also is the number 8, right? So 8 means we're always going to go above the physical world. So we're going from material to immaterial, to the digital in the modern vernacular, to the spiritual. And the way the Ches is written, either a Zion and a Zion or a Zion and above, these two lines that are connected at the top, which is the transition point between two different worlds. And
Wow.
then beyond that is the Aleph, right? It's only once you realize we're not just, floaty, ghostly, spiritual beings. We've got the Dalet, we're material, we're physical, we've got blood coursing through our veins, and we're breathing, oxygen, and we're in this world. But then there's also this more spiritual, energetic element to who we are. And then beyond that, then there's the Aleph. And the Aleph is obviously that oneness. It's our connection to source. It's our connection, how we're all part of this one reality. And that's why the Aleph, the way that it's written, is it's a Yud, and a Vav together, which is 26, which is also like the name of God is pointed to by the 26. So those are the three elements of who we are. And that's basically our individual lives as we're living, and has been the movement of reality. All of reality is moving in this direction from the very beginning, going from Dalet and then connecting it to the Ches and then connecting it to the Aleph. And then once you have all of them together, you realize it's all one, right? That's the movement we've been living.
I just want to ask if there might be people who are not familiar with Hebrew or the Shema. So if somebody could just type in, this is Rabbi Moshe is analyzing the word one, which is echad in Hebrew, which is the cardinals, as you said, the song is listen, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Israel refers to the core of the soul. So that's spelled with these three letters of the Aleph, Ches, and Dalet. If somebody would want to write down, if somebody from the audience could just write those letters so that if somebody wants to go Google the shapes to see what the letters actually look like, they could do that. If anybody is willing to do that, just write down Aleph in English for Googling purposes. Yeah, so I'm just I'm wondering the way that you're describing the Dalet, the last letter, as being the physical realm, and it also means poverty or poor. And it's half, I'm just thinking it's half of the Ches, which is the spiritual world. But then I was talking about this in my class yesterday, that when it comes to that 8 is greater than 4, a million is greater than 1, but compared to infinity, they're both exactly equal. So it goes from 4 to 8 to 1 to infinity.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
I mean, there's, I've in life, you've got two types of transcendence, two types of opportunities for movement from where you are to where you want to be. And the first movement is realizing is the waking up. I kind of feel like every morning you wake up, you have to wake up twice. You have to wake up physically, right, from your slumber, from your sleep, and then you have to remember what you're doing here. You have to wake up again, right? And there's these two opportunities to wake up every day, and that first level is going from this lack of consciousness to consciousness, right? I was asleep and now I'm awake, and that is that first movement. And then the second movement is I might be awake, but you can walk around spiritually asleep. You can walk around emotionally asleep. You can walk around and feel disconnected from the people around you. So that's that second opportunity for awakening. And that second one is a oneness. The first one is dynamic, because you're going from a complete lack to now you have something, right? You're movement, you're alive, right? And then when you go from alive to integrated, one whole, right? You're now a whole being. There's no more separation. In the book that I wrote, It's All the Same to Me, a lot of people look at me when they see the title and they say, but everything is different. Nothing is the same. How could you possibly say it's all the same? And it's kind of the same idea, which is, yes, that's true. On the surface, everything is different. Nothing is the same. Every day is different. Every moment's different. Every element in reality is different. And that's still in the Ches, like you said, where it's bigger than Dalet. There's still so much, but then you have to go a step behind that, and then and touch what's behind everything in reality. And you could maybe change the language to, instead of it's all the same to me, it's all God to me, or it's all one to me, it's all a shame to me. It's that when you find the connection behind all things, like you said, infinity is going to be greater than any number you can put in front of it, right? Because it's the full connection beyond everything. I feel like
Which
we
means
got really,
everything is equal to infinity. It doesn't matter whether you're less or more. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all the
that's
same
right.
compared to infinity.
So
Yeah, I guess that's
exactly.
the point.
That's where you find the sameness, and that's where the stillness And the joy is because everywhere you are is exactly the right place and exactly the right time. And that's how you open yourself up to a life of miracles, right? I mean, the whole world is really a miracle. The whole thing is an absolute, um, it's life should really be a non sequitur, right? We shouldn't be here. The whole thing is amazing. And so when you open yourself up and realize that, wow, so every moment is perfect in the fact that you're even here to have it.
You make me think of something. I had panic attacks when I was in college at a certain period of time. And I remember lying in, I don't know if this is, it just comes to me, lying in bed and hearing my heartbeat and feeling it and getting panicked because I didn't know what was making it go. Like what's coming from nowhere.
Right?
You don't
Who
have to be
beats your
panicked
heart?
about it though. It can be amazing, you let go and it can be the most amazing experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the beginning is frightening. I think we all start with some level of fear. I think that's actually if you look in all of both the Torah Svarim and I think generally the world of understanding around the topic is everything starts, the whole journey starts in this fear of the unknown. Because in the beginning we don't know. We all start
Right.
in the same place. We're all equal in our starting point. We all end the same, right? The journey is what differentiates our life experience. But we all start in some fear of what's happening here. How is this happening? Who am I? What's taking place?
Yeah. Who am I? Where am I? Why am I? What's going to happen? And
Sorry, I can't. You froze a bit. You were about to say
oh,
something.
did I? Anyway, yeah, you're right. I heard once in a seminar, the presenter said we have to shift from the terror of the uncertain, of the unknown, to the wonder and the delight of the unknown.
Yeah, it's true. Meaning the uncertainty is also what makes life exciting, right?
Full of
It's
potential.
it's
Both
what
insane.
allows moment by moment to be fresh and new. And really the aleph, right? Like we spoke about the one, that opening letter, the you know the first letter of the word one. If you go all the way back to the top, the aleph is infinite potential, and within infinite potential is infinite uncertainty,
Right.
right? So, but that's also where creation comes from, right? You can't create if something has to be a certain way, right? So the moment that you feel that life is programmed to be one way and it can't be more than that, so that's when we're in the Dalit. Dalit is the pre-programming. It's like, the difference between the word behema, right, which means an animal, and Adam, which means a human being, is that the word behema in Hebrew means ba ma. What's in it is in it. It means that there's programming,
Instinct.
and
Right.
and you're locked in. Where Adam comes from the word Adama, which means potential, right? And so our capacity to tap into infinite potential is what makes us human, right? And then to be able to draw on that, but that can be scary. And so the dance we play from fear to faith, from fear to love to joy, is the joyous experience of moving into um, those higher spheres, that higher mode of living. I think today a lot of people use language like 3D, 4D, 5D, of like what state we're in, and those are those three letters. Those are the Dal, the Ches, and the Aleph, or the 3D, the 4D, and the 5D. And that's really what we're describing, right? The 3D is when you're in a completely material experience of reality, and that's how you see things. So it's more ego-centered in nature, right? So we see things through our own personal lens, and everything is personal. That's the only way we see. And then there's the transition point where you start to want to be on calls like this, and where can I find more of the stuff that's beyond the day to day? And I realized that there's more to life, and then the opportunity to move into that higher space of consciousness where we're not fighting reality. We realize we are reality. We're one with the whole thing.
To become a fluid, much more like a fluid and less like a solid.
Yeah, and I think it's anchor points. That was really the point of discussion we were saying before. Meaning it's never one or the other. It's all of them.
Mm.
When you're here, the Dalet is a, I don't want to use so much Hebrew, but like we're pointing to the body, the soul, and source, right? So those three access points, right? Whether you can be anchored in the physical and be somewhat aware of what's going beyond you physically, or you can be anchored in a space of consciousness where you are awake to all the levels at the same time. It's not about ignoring any part of your life, but embracing all the parts of who you are.
Which is one of the things that's amazing. That's one of the things that I think maybe differentiates the Torah mysticism from other mystical traditions, that it's always got to come back down, and it's got to go all the way up into that one, into that soul, spirit source level, and then come all the way back down to the physical. And that's the only way creation is complete. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that, when I think we called this event, right, miracles and metamorphosis, right? So we're dancing around our capacity to change and to experience higher elements, right, based on higher vibrational frequencies in our life. And depending on where you're sitting internally, that's really going to be the greatest determining factor as to whether or not you're living a life of miracles. It's less to do with what.
Hang on a second, Rachel. You're maybe go off video and come back on at like 1 minute to the hour, if that's okay. Yeah. Okay. The next speaker. She's early.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So no, it's all good. So depending on where you're sitting right now, that's really going to be the greatest determining factor as to whether or not you're living what you would call a life of miracles, right? So if you're still sitting in a place where you take life so seriously, and when I say life, I mean the story, the drama, the traffic, the fact that internet gets cut out, right? If that's what if
Right.
that's what becomes so real, so then when miracles happen, you might miss them even when they do, and at best you'll call them a coincidence, right? Oh, that was a coincidence. These two things happened to be here, happened to be there. And as we grow and develop our connection to our heart space, to our soul space, we realize we don't just experience coincidences, but we experience synchronicity. And we say, oh, this is like it's so coincidental, it seems intelligent and by design, that as like we're working with, right? We're working with some presence beyond ourselves. And when a synchronicity happens in such an unlikely and important way, that's when we say, oh, that was a miracle, right?
Right.
So it's all degrees of likelihood and dramatic effect. And then we say, oh, that was a miracle. But the fact that you're breathing is not? No, the whole thing is, right? So there's a line in the Talmud that says, the one that has miracles happen to them, they're unaware of them. I don't know how, that's my quickest translation on Ein Bal Hanes Makir Es Niso, which means the one who experiences miracles is unaware of them. And in Hasidus, they explain that what that means is a person who is so in tune and aligned with the knowledge that everything is a miracle, all of life is a miracle, right? So they don't see them as miracles, they just see them as life, right? And so everything's.
Oh, that's what it means. Wow.
Yes.
So a person who's truly one with miracles doesn't distinguish between anything, miracle in nature, because there's only miracles. Wow, I've heard and read that verse in Psalms so many times and never.
That's right. And isn't that amazing? I mean, that's really what we're speaking about this whole time, which is the more that we can open ourselves up and allow ourselves to experience life as more than just the physical that it is, right? So then in that higher awareness, so you stop differentiating between, in a sense, between good and bad, right? Good and evil, good and bad. That's the essential mistake, is that we have this idea that there is essential bad, essential wrong. There's subjective and temporal evil, but there's not eternal or objective evil, in the sense that it's all part of something bigger. It's all part of something great. And so, that's why there are so many stories of people who found themselves in the darkest of situations. And that's what became the crucible in their life to open them up to become the greatest heroes of many different generations, and to become people who were able to help others in ways that they couldn't have gotten to had they not gone through those experiences. But what it took was that when you go through any form of darkness, you allow yourself to experience it fully and grow in the process. It's only when we don't grow and don't go to that next level that we end up feeling buried underneath and crushed by the darkness. But essentially, it's all the same at the deepest level.
So you're saying that we can either experience, again, like there's miracle and there's nature, there is things that are on path and things that are off path, in the way of the path, whether it's personal or global or whatever. You're saying the higher the view that you take, the bigger the picture you connect to, the more you understand the underlying, connect to that olive, to that one, the more everything fits together, even what is hard, even what appears to be bad and is in the 3D level, it is bad.
Yes.
But from the higher level, it's all, there's nothing separate from the plan, and nothing that isn't essentially leading to the good or at its core is for the good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said it beautifully, articulated it wonderfully. And I think when I keep coming back to these three levels as access points for understanding. At the lowest level, right, at the 3D body ego level, so pain is real, suffering is real. That's the life experience. And so there's an opportunity to grow through suffering, or to transmute our perception of the experience as something positive, which is why we throughout Torah there's this idea of Gamzu Latova, or Kol Ma Da'avid Rahman Latav Avid, which all mean that everything's for the best. I'm looking for the good in situations. I'm looking for the reminders and the opportunities and the life lessons, and I'm looking for the new direction it's going to lead me in. Which that's already a very positive place to be in. That's going to be a level up, and then one level beyond that is not just the transmuting our perception of the experience, but transcending it altogether by getting so present with reality that we're not resisting it anymore, that we're not going to stand in opposition to what takes place. And when you step into that state of allowing, that's how you surrender to the totality of the experience. That's why when one surrenders and you step into that place of oneness, and I know from my own personal experience and from many others who experience the same, it's almost like it's not giving up, but it's giving over the need to control
Right.
life and need to control situations in any way. When you do that, the peace that comes from completely going above it is you don't have to think about it's good or find a lesson. It stops being a question. It's there are two different ways to answer a question. A question in Torah is always, when you think of something, a challenge. A challenge is a question. So when a person's going through a hard time, when you see someone who's struggling financially, physically, emotionally, that's a question. They feel that life has a kasha. It's a question. So there's two ways to answer a question. Sometimes it's with an answer. So when you have a question, you look for an answer. And sometimes you go to a place inside where you don't have an answer, but you have so much clarity that the question goes away. It's not that you have an answer to that particular question, but
Yeah.
you don't have it anymore because you're clearer on life. And that's the difference between the Ches and the Aleph, between that stage one revelation and stage two revelation in growth. In one, we realize there's more and we can find answers. At two, we don't even have the questions anymore because life is so clear. And that's in this pure place of surrender.
Yes, I had that experience after my brother died. I went through all the levels, and finally someone said, or just the process, it opened up to a place where everything was okay, even though I could not possibly understand how, but it was so grounding and so tangible. This brings me to, the time's going really fast. We have 5 more minutes, but this brings me to a question or thought, like you're talking about the personal process, but if we look at all of life, the, wars and corruption and the things that, we see now and we've seen throughout history. So on the physical level, on the doll level, we are meant to stand up against things and for things. And what I'm hearing from you is, you're not saying this, but I think you're saying it, but please say yes or no, that if we can get into the Aleph, if we get to that place of peace, then we can come at things, if we even have to anymore. In many cases, we probably don't, from a place of just calm power, where it doesn't have to be a side-by-side struggle. This is evolving in my head as I'm saying it, because there's a quote that I have on a website we made a long time ago, thetruthaboutisrael.org, whatever, where it's a quote from the Rabbi where he says that we should trust in God, and that will bring true peace. That when you trust in God, that God gave us this land, and you're willing to say so openly, you don't need to go to war. You don't even need weapons. Is that more or less? I mean, maybe that's an extension of what you're saying, but it feels very true.
Yes. And I wasn't saying that particular point, but of course that is the extension, right? Meaning, depending on where you're rooted, that's how you come forward, right? That's how you express yourself. So there are 2 reasons to want something. You can want something because you feel like it's missing, or you can want something because there's an opportunity to go experience something new, right? But you feel whole, meaning if you didn't get it, you would be okay also. So when you come from a place of wholeness and joy and oneness and connection, so there's no more need to defend or to conquer, but rather you're there to connect and to make peace. And that's what relationships are really about. There's a blessing that one says under the chuppah, right? When people get married, and there are these 7 different blessings that are said, and there's a letter that's missing, right? There's 27 letters in the alphabet. One of them isn't present in the entire series of blessings. The letter that's missing is Zion, which means weapon, because when it comes to forging a relationship, forging connection, we say there's no room for any hint to weapons, because if you want a relationship, you have to realize there's nothing to defend and there's nothing to conquer, right? We're here to connect. So if that's where you're coming from, if that's your starting point in how you relate, obviously on an interpersonal level, but also interfaith and intercontinental, meaning international. Like whenever we're trying to connect on any level, if you're coming from a place of we're not trying to take anything from you, and we don't feel like you're going to be a threat to our reality, so we can get somewhere. The truth is that, and this really brings us back to the very beginning. This is an evolution of consciousness. We are not there. As much as we are there, and every moment we have arrived, every next moment we'll have arrived more. And I think that collectively, this is the best. Every moment is the best we've been so far. And
right.
In the meantime, there are still people in the world who are actively acting from a place that cause harm. And so to be spiritual does not mean to be foolish, right?
Right.
It means to be awake. And
That's right.
God forbid if someone were to come at you or your family, that's not the moment to meditate. That's not the moment to sit down and light some incense. Or whatever it is that you want to do, right? Or to
Or to
pull out
let them
safe
for a
word.
nice conversation over coffee. Right.
Right. But the moment they are ready, we should be there. Right? The moment that someone is ready.
That really requires transcending the ego. But yeah.
Yeah. This is the best work in the world.
Wow. Okay. So you have, I just wanted before, thank you so much. And you stuck with it. I just have to remember to send you, I'm going to just copy this right now because you really have to see what happened when you were away. And it just really, so it was a visceral experience of that oneness that's above, he's here, he's not here. Is it going well? Is not. Everybody just went somehow into this magical space. It was really crazy. Anyway, you are offering a free gift to everybody, and that's the first chapter of your book. It's all the same to me, or it's all one to me, or it's it's all the same to me. So that's linked up under the video, and everybody should pick it up. And if you like it, just get the whole book. It's awesome work. Anyway, thank you so much, and really, really appreciate that you were able to show up and share on this level.
Oh, thank you, Shifra.
Yeah, as
I
people are
appreciate
saying,
it.
it's amazing, it's wonderful. I bought the whole book. Thank you, Rabbi. The Rabbi's book is wonderful. You'll see the chat.
Okay, well,
Anyway.
everyone should be blessed. You should be blessed, and we should all merit to see the joyous world and all the miracles that are possible every day.
Amen. Amen. Ken Yiratzon. Okay, everybody, we're staying on the same Zoom, so feel free to just go back to your car. You don't have to stay in your car. And we'll have our next speaker in 4 minutes, Rachel Albert, and I'm just going to turn off my video so I